Hi, I'm Gemma Rigby. I work for Tempdrop and I'm joined by...
Hi, I'm Nerissa. I'm graphic designer at Tempdrop.
And today we want to talk to you about when to do hormone testing, often referred to as day 3 and day 21 tests. So you might be wondering why we're asking that question. It's a day 3 of our cycle and day 21. But actually, testing on those 2 days is actually based on a 28-day cycle. And so, and also with ovulation occurring on day 14. We know that from studies and also from the data that we are able to analyse that the majority of women don't ovulate on day 14 and they don't have 28-day cycles. So we often get asked about hormone testing and also the variability of the results as well. So it's important to know what we're trying to achieve with both of these tests. So with the day 3 test, we're trying to test our peak estrogen levels. And with the day 21 test, we're trying to test our peak progesterone levels. So in order for us to do this, we actually need to know when our personal peak hormone days are, because if we don't have a 28-day cycle and we don't ovulate on day 14, we could be testing on the wrong day. What we're going to do today is look at how this actually works in real life. And Nerissa, you've recently experienced this, so can you talk about how you approach your own progesterone tests?
Yeah, so I recently needed some blood tests taken, requested by my functional medicine doctor. And these were just overall blood tests to include estrogen and progesterone, but we were particularly looking at progesterone levels. Like many other women, I don't have a 28-day cycle, and private blood tests are really expensive. So I wanted to ensure that I was testing on the right day. Otherwise, the results could have been inaccurate.
Yeah, absolutely, and wasted money. So you were tracking your cycle with Tempdrop though, and what happened?
So the day my doctor told me to have my test done on day 21 was actually part of an anovulatory cycle, and I would not have known that had I not been tracking with Tempdrop. Something disrupted my cycle that month, either stress, travel, possibly the vaccine, I don't know, but I didn't ovulate that cycle. So looking at my chart, I could see that, and it meant that I just couldn't test that month. So I had to wait till the following month, and then kept tracking with Tempdrop. The following month, I was able to confirm ovulation, and then could work out what the best day to test was to test peak progesterone levels, which had to be in the middle of my luteal phase.
Of course, yeah.
So if I had tested the previous cycle on day 21, it would have been the wrong time.
And it probably would have shown low progesterone levels.
That's correct, yeah. It would have shown really low progesterone levels, not because they were genuinely low, just because it was in the wrong part of the cycle. So with the help and advice of my colleagues at Tempdrop, I was able to work all this out and be able to test at the right time and not waste a load of money.
Which is always a nice bonus.
Yes,
definitely. And it's interesting as well that you mentioned it was an anovulatory cycle, because unless you were tracking your BBT, you wouldn't have known that, because you could have had a bleed and then assumed it was your period and then tested what you assume was day 3 and day 21, but that would have been completely inaccurate. So obviously it's a big lesson to learn, but what would you say is the biggest takeaway from all of this?
Well, tracking with Tempdrop has helped me to plan my hormone testing accurately. So I get the readings that are correct and can use that information then to work with my practitioner more effectively. I would never have been able to know whether I was ovulating or not without using Tempdrop. So, you know, I love using Tempdrop for that, because it's really good to monitor my health. And now I view it as an essential item, making sure that everything's running smoothly, and if there's things I need to tweak, then I can. So it's been really good to make sure I was testing at the right time.
Awesome. So now we know how crucial it is to test at the right time. So let's just review and remind ourselves of the most important takeaways. So if we want accurate results on our hormone test, we need to know if we ovulated, when we ovulated, and also knowing roughly how long our luteal phase is. So that's the time from ovulation to our next period, how long that time is, so that we can make sure we are testing in the middle of that phase. Without that information, it's likely you'll be conducting hormone testing at the wrong time, not really getting to the underlying cause of any health conditions that you may have, because you're going to see inaccurate results. And obviously that's not what we want. And as you said, it's wasted time, it's wasted money. So it's really important to invest that time into making sure that you are testing on the right days.